Has the time for business, and Sandra Fenu is here, and she is here with more on what the Vice President has had to say about the town hall meeting.
Yes, the keys, the CD still locked, and the keys thrown away. So, Vice President saying that they are doing better than the previous government, and that's what we will be discussing in business.
Take it away.
All right, celebrating 25 years of joy. Sandra Esenamapin. As always, I'm here for business. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says the CD within the last 3 years has witnessed a relatively slow rate of depreciation from over 18% to 8.7%. According to the Vice President, it is twice as stable under the current administration as compared to the previous administration. He was speaking at a town hall meeting and results fair in Kumasi.
The exchange rate is simply the price of one currency relative to other currencies. So the CD to the dollar. At the basic level, it is influenced by factors such as the relative demand and supply for foreign currency. It is a price, just like the price of any good or service. How much of one currency does one need to give up to get the unit of another currency? And generally, it reflects the purchasing power of one currency relative to another. Countries have a choice between two basic types of exchange rate regimes. You can have a fixed exchange rate regime, which is one which is administratively fixed by the government or the monetary authority, with fiscal and monetary policy deployed to maintain the fixed exchange rate regime. So the CFA countries, for example, operate a fixed exchange rate regime. In practice, countries will devalue or revalue their currencies in line with their fundamentals. The other type of exchange rate regime is the floating exchange rate regime, where the exchange rate is determined by the forces of demand and supply. Ghana operates a floating regime or a managed floating regime, and for that reason, in Ghana, we can or should never expect that the exchange rate will be fixed. We are not operating a fixed exchange rate regime in Ghana. It will fluctuate depending on the demand and supply. What policymakers can do is to try to control the rate of depreciation or appreciation of the currency through sound policies. In the context of a floating exchange rate regime, therefore, arresting the depreciation of a currency can only mean slowing down the rate of depreciation or stopping the rapid and volatile depreciation of the currency.
Now, the Vice President also added for the first time in 20 years, Ghana's economy has witnessed an unprecedented trade surplus for 3 years consecutively. He noted the improvement in trade surplus has enhanced the country's total international reserves as well as the net international reserves.
The results of the fiscal consolidation are evident, and the data shows that significant progress has been made to restore macroeconomic stability and economic growth. The growing confidence in the macroeconomy owes a lot to the prudent management of our public finances and monetary affairs over the last 3 years. To underpin fiscal discipline going forward, Ghana has for the first time in history passed into law a Fiscal Responsibility Act that limits the fiscal deficit in any year to a maximum of 5% of GDP and requires a positive primary balance to ensure debt sustainability. In addition to a Fiscal Responsibility Act, we established a Fiscal Council to provide oversight and advice on the implementation of fiscal policy.
Let's say more on the Vice President's comment, and joining me via Skype is economist John Gachi. Thank you so much for your time, sir. You heard the Vice President there, But can we also argue that during the previous administration, we had issues with the cedi because of external factors? For instance, there was reduction in prices of commodities on the international market, and now things have slightly changed because, for example, we have new oil discovery. So automatically, some will say that the cedi will perform better than previous years. Is this purely government intervention, or is the external factors that played in the past that is actually working in their favor?
Well, I think you need to consider external and domestic factors. When it comes to the past 3 years, we do know some of the external factors that actually militated against the performance of the currency, especially in 2015, were not present from 2017 up to date. The effect of the doomsday that we had in 2015 is not present between 2017 and 2019. The collapse in commodity prices, in which the expectation of crude oil price was $93.6 dollars per barrel. That will reduce drastically to around $40 per barrel. Was not present in 2017 to 2019. You realize that the currency, the depreciation keep on going up. For example, the first when you look at 2017, the depreciation keep worsening under the current government between 2017 and 2019. So I think those are the things we need to factor in the discussion. So we shouldn't discuss as if the environment within which the currency is managed this time is the same environment that the currency was managed in previous time.
Your line, but if you can hear me on the issue of the trade surplus, for instance, if you look at our commodities that we export, which one do you think is the most exported, and if that is bringing in more, and if actually that can be sustained?
Well, I think in recent time, all the commodities have resumed. In 2015, we know that some of the gold mining companies closed down. In recent time, they have come on board. And somehow accommodated within expectation. So I think that largely our trade surplus that we're talking about is driven by natural resource exports and commodities in general. Our value addition has not been any significant in terms of the past records. But I think if we are discussing the trade surplus, we also do know that in the past 3 years, imports have been controlled because of difficulties in the economy. In fact, in 2019 alone, the reduction in imports alone was above, $1 billion. So when you have such a situation, definitely you need to have a good balance between export and import. It is not because of drastic export drive within the country and productivity that resulted in that. So we will need to work on our productivity, value addition, and enhance export drive to achieve expectations.
All right, we have to leave it there. The feed is not too good. Thanks so much, John Gachi. He's an economist, Professor John Gachi. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Sandra Esenamapenaba.